Welcome, Falcon fans, to week 10 of the Coaches Show. We are finally wrapping up the regular season for the Bushland Falcon.
Finally, it feels like it started 2 weeks ago.
I know, it did. We say that each week. But glad you guys are joining us this morning. I appreciate throughout the year, but wrapping up the final game of the season tonight in Dalhart. Kickoff is at 7 o'clock. Almost at 6. 7 o'clock. So, well, last week did not turn out quite like we wanted to, Coach, but ran up against a pretty good shallow water team.
Yeah, we did. You know, that happens. Shallow water has a really good team. Had a couple of kids back, definitely helped him. But that's why you play the game. The old saying about, if you just went off who was picked to win and who was favored to win, you wouldn't play. There's no reason to play. So,
Sure.
We just tip our caps to them. They played a good game. We had some things we didn't do very well on, that normally we do. That's part of it. That's part of the game. That's part of life sometimes. You got to pick yourself up and continue on and move on, and that's what we're looking forward to doing tonight.
How was the locker room this week? You talk about overcoming adversity and picking ourselves up. How was that locker room this week coming off that loss?
It was good. We have a great locker room. Those kids, we have great leaders, senior leadership, really throughout the locker room, great leadership, regardless if they're a captain, a senior, an underclassman, whatever it is. And what you have in that locker room is you have a lot of competitors that, we talked about Monday morning in our 7 o'clock meeting where we watched film on our next opponent. And, I think those kids were ready to get to Friday night, so they can prove themselves again. So, locker room was fine, told them Friday night after the game on the field, said the sun's going to come up, it's not the end of the world, the sun's going to come up tomorrow. We're going to watch film, we're going to learn from it, and we're going to get better. I mean, that's all you can do. You can sit around and feel sorry for yourself and make excuses all you want and this and that. Bottom line is we got beat in a football game. We're going to be all right. Last will move on, the next weeks will move. We're ready to go tonight.
Yeah, how important is it to stress that short-term memory? Learn from those mistakes, but then move forward.
Well, I think that's the important thing is I think we stress that all year, even after the wins. We want to learn from, and whether we win a game, you turn on the film, there's going to be good, there's going to be correctable mistakes. We need to learn from it. You lose a game, the same thing. You're going to watch it. I want the kids to enjoy the win. Friday night into Saturday, when we watch film, it's gone. We learn from it, but it's gone, win or lose. Unfortunately, we've only had one experience losing this year. So that's a good thing. I tell the kids it's hard. I mean, as you go through a season, this is my 21st year to coach, and so 21 football seasons, football team, and there's been very few, and there's very few out there that go 10-0 or even 16-0. It's just at any level. That's college too. That's why you see those upsets and things happen in the NFL as well. You don't see very many teams just because it's hard. I mean, once you start going, you get a. We talked about this, here, but you start winning and keep winning, all of a sudden you got a bullseye on you, and everybody's. And if you're not ready to go, those things can happen. I think that partly was, and that falls back to me. We didn't have an edge last Friday night that we normally have when we started the game. Now, part of that was maybe lack of execution there. We've been able to start fast and jump on people. In fact, when we went down 7-0, that was the first time we've been down all season. So, and I don't even think they even thought about that. But we just didn't play well. We didn't coach well. We weren't ready to go. But like I said, that's in the past. We learned from it, and I know kids and coaches both are pretty hungry for tonight.
The shallow water game was really a tale of two halves. Obviously, if it could go wrong in the first half, we figured out how to do that.
Yeah.
But what was the message at halftime? Because it felt like a different team coming out.
Yeah, well, we're honest with them. You said, right now, they're kind of rubbing their nose in it. They're not only beating us, but they're starting to put it on us. They're yelling, screaming at us, going to the locker room. And, what can you say? When you're down 27-7 and you've been out physical, you've been out executed, you've been out coached, you've been out everything, you better check yourself at halftime. So we were just honest and said, everything that we do, we're getting outdone. Playing, coaching, physical, playing hard, details, everything we do, they were better than us. And we said, you got one of two choices. You we can either go back out there and keep swinging and keep fighting, and let's see what happens. You know, maybe we come back and win, maybe whatever, but, you know, we've done it before. Reminded them about last year in Canadian. I said, we can get back in it and have a chance, or I said, it may get real ugly and it won't be very pretty. So, you know, I think the kids handled that well, and the coaches too. We just, you know, then we came out first drive and they go down and just get another touchdown and make it 34. So, you know, at that point we could have tucked our tails and just to really let it snowball from there. But we answered, came back, got a score. Got a stop, I believe, after that, got another score, then maybe the turnover. I think they fumbled it. Shrewsbury caused a fumble, and the next thing you know, there's nine and a half minutes left, and we're down to 6. And we fought back in it, gave ourselves a chance. It's just hard. When you get down that much to a good team, you got to be perfect the second half. And we weren't perfect, but we were pretty dang good, and we just dug ourselves too deep in the hole.
Yeah, I think that team really, we talk each week about those that step up, whether it's a Shrewsbury, whether it's a Charlie, whether it's Aiden or whoever, Tanner Adams. Last week, there was a turning point early in that third quarter. I think we ran that reverse around, and DJ led block, and I mean, he blows the kid up. And I'm like, that's leading by example, right? And he said, let's go. And to me, our whole attitude from the team perspective, I felt like that's when we finally shifted in and really started executing with purpose, I guess you could say.
We've used that word a lot. Really, not just Luke all year, but everything we do with a purpose. Practice with a purpose. Every day we step out there, we play, have a purpose. I don't think we had that purpose first half, start the game. What we did, second half, but especially right then, I think as you talked about, start making some plays, I think that may have been a third down, and we ran that. And first of all, Tanner's just really explosive. He's very fast, explosive. Feels like every time he touches the ball, it's almost a big play. So we got to continue to find a way to get him the ball. DJ's going to be with DJ, and he's going to lead. He'll do whatever you ask him to do. And that was the deal with on that play. We've been practicing for a while. We've actually run it before too. We got called back for a hold a few weeks ago though, but. He got out there and said, hey, you can get in somebody's way at least, try to block him, but get in somebody's way,
He got in his way.
He got in his way. Well, I think he was letting out some frustration, some anger maybe. I know his dad's on the chains over there on that side, so if he would have gone out there and got knocked down, his dad probably would have said something to him, but, he went out there and I didn't really see it live. I heard the coaches say something on the headsets about it, but going back and watching on film, and he took off out there, him and Turner Johnson, Turner pulled out there, and a couple of good blocks, and like I said, for quarterback to go on, sometimes it takes something like that for an unexpected player to do something like that. Not that everybody knows DJ can do that. We watched him play defense in 7th grade as a sophomore last year in the JV. He can tackle, he can hit you. He just haven't seen it done this year because of the position he's in, but we haven't asked him to do that, but it was time, and he went out there with no fear, hit the guy, knocked him on his back. We got a big play out of it and got some momentum going there. And like I said, I think, we did a lot of, when you watch the film, usually when you win and you go back and watch the film, it's probably not as good as what you feel like, God, we had 500 and something yards, and we shut them out, and we were and you go back and watch, and we did a lot of things wrong. A lot of things we could get better at. On a loss, you can do the same thing if you're not careful. God, we were terrible. This and that. We need to change this, replace this person. You go back and watch it, and it probably wasn't quite as bad as what you think. Correctable mistakes. Sometimes just mistakes that happen. Maybe dropping a ball, don't normally do that, but anytime you put it in the air, there's always that chance. At any level, you see it every Saturday, every Sunday too. So, bottom line is, what happened, and like you said, first half, wasn't very pretty, wasn't very good, but the fact that you can go into that locker room, and see they're disappointed. I told them at halftime, I said, my money's on you. We got to come out, and here's 1 or 2 things we can do, but my money is on you, that we're going to come out and fight. And I know that's one thing that will never happen this year is that we'll have a team that won't come out and fight. So, proud of them for that.
You know, obviously, we talked about shallow water got healthy at the right time. Are you looking forward to that bye a little bit? Obviously, everybody asks us, how's Mayfield? You heard anything on Mayfield? Can you give an update maybe just on that situation?
Sure, yeah. You know, as far as Coach Mayfield, in fact, I just got off the phone. When I walked in, I was still talking to him on the phone. So he's doing better. Wants to be out here. Misses the boys, misses the girls. He's coaching, you know, basketball and everything. Just misses I think, being around the coaches and just the camaraderie of school and teachers and everything. So he's doing better though. I think he's improving each day. He said, he's ready to get cleared. I think to be able to come back and to have some normalcy and can kind of get back in the flow of things. We're going to have to keep our eye on him and make sure he doesn't overdo it.
We kept wondering if he might just roll in on a golf cart by halftime, you know.
I keep waiting for him to come through the door or something, but yeah, I think no, he wants to be back obviously, and you know we just got to make sure he's healthy for him, you know, first and foremost. But he's getting better each day, and you know, hopefully here sometime in the near future, you know, we'll have him back with us. But you know, like as far as the kids go and getting healthy, which we talked about, yeah, that's part of football specifically. But you know, in any sport, you know, you're going to have things, you know, and we have, you know, we're not decimated by any means, but we have some good players out right now. But that's part of it, and we've had some big ones step up though, you know, which leads you, and I think you probably saw that last week. We had some kids step up, you know, both sides of the ball. You know, going back all the way to, you lose a guy like Weston Forbes is obviously a DB, but a kicker too, and have somebody like Sid come in from the JV and just step in and be as steady. You know, my deal is always with kickers, make extra points. Make extra points. Those are points you're either getting every time you score or you're giving away. And he's come in and done a great job, knock on wood. But he's done well. You know, last week, you know, I thought Stratton Malloy came in and played an unbelievable game. Had a different level of just focus and attitude about let's go do this, and made some great plays. You know, obviously Cole Purcell had a great game. You know, as far as statistically, you know, speaking, had some great catches and some good things like that. But Caden Venia had some nice plays. But like I said, you just keep rolling, and that's why you coach them from 7th grade. You know, to get ready for this point. You know, we had some kids. We probably have 9 sophomores up right now. We never had that many, but we've had to just to have our depth. Ask those guys to step in and do some things, and they're getting better each week. You know, and that's what you want to see first and foremost for this year. But then, you know, coaches are always still in the back of your mind. You're always still thinking about guys in the future and how they're improving and stuff. And we have a lot of guys that are just getting better. So that makes us, you know, better for right now, and you know, helps us in the future as well.
Absolutely. Well, let's talk a little bit about last night's games for all the other classes. How did that come out?
Good night. It was a good night for the Falcons. Junior high teams went over to Dalhart and played 3 games over there. You know, my reports back from those guys that it went really well. I know our B team, combined B, which is still another great thing for us. We still would rather have 4 junior high teams. We're just not able to, you know, play people that can do that right now. So, you know, they had a good game. I believe they tied. We got a lot of experience, more playing time for those kids. So it went well. And then the 7th grade A, you know, won a pretty big game. They continue to do good things and just keep rolling on. The 8th grade had a really good win over Dalhart, won pretty big. I know they beat us last time over here, so that was real big for those kids and coaches to go over there and get that win. And that's the thing I think we're seeing, you know, especially with that group, is they're just improving. Even some of the ones that may have lost in recent weeks, they're still improving. They're getting better, which is the name of the game. You know, you want to keep getting better, and just that player development, team development. They're doing a really good job, so I'm really proud of those guys. Freshmen played Wellington JV over here, and kind of the same type of deal there. You know, we went over to Wellington with those guys several weeks ago. You know, and they have a good JV, good looking kids, some athletic kids, some big kids. You know, and they kind of put it to us over there on the grass field. They came over to our place last night, and you know, our kids just really stepped up. And that's one thing about that group. And when you challenge them to something like that, they're gonna step up because they don't like to lose. And you know, those kids really just stepped in, played hard. You know, thought our kids played really hard in that freshman game, and so did Wellington, and they did some good things. And it was kind of back and forth a little bit, and pretty tight the whole game. And then, you know, we found a way to take a lead at the end, and then they returned a kickoff for a touchdown. And this was probably less than 2 minutes left, all less than 2 minutes left. They retook the lead, and we got the ball, went back down, and scored, and kicked the extra point to tie it up. And I had to give Coach Baldwin a hard time because he went for the tie in the freshman game. I was texting him down there to tell him, make sure you know there's no overtime in some varsity games, but anyways, they did good. The coaches did well. The kids played really extremely hard, and they ended up in a tie. But just really proud of those kids for coming back and playing like that against them. And then JV played Dalhart, played really well. That was their last game. Ended the season really strong. You know, our JV lost to Shallow Water last week, and kind of felt like we didn't, you know, really didn't show up to play kind of with that edge we talked about. So we talked to them about this week. Look, that's when, you know, you don't show up ready to go, that's what happens, and you know, we got to be ready. So I think we came out from the get-go last night, you know, with the JV ready to go, kind of jumped on them from the start. Played really well into the season, good for those guys.
You know, obviously with Dalhart, before we get into the game, talk a little bit about Coach Reed and what he's done this year. You know, we talk a lot about football and how it brings the community together and how our community is special, but that community's gone through a lot this year between the player and losing 2 firefighters a couple weeks ago. Before we get into the X's and O's and talk about what to expect, talk about Coach Reed and just as a coach walking through that type of season.
Well, first of all, you know, I feel like I consider Coach Reed a friend of mine. Coached against him for a long time now. You know, when I was in Hereford, he was a PD, you know, coaching there as an assistant for a while. And he went with Coach Young over to Dalhart. And then, you know, we've been playing each other now for pretty much 10 years. You know, I don't know, I think there may have been a little two-year window where we didn't play him there, but just got, especially being a head coach, really got to know Coach Reed a lot. Just really like him. Just a real good guy. Several of those guys on that staff I know really well, but yeah, obviously going back to earlier in the season when they lost, you know, that young man, you know, off the JV football team. Obviously tragic, you know, for that family, first and foremost. You should never have to go through that, you know, as a parent or any type of relative or friend. And then you talk about, you know, the realization of it is there's, as hard as it is on a program, a school, a football team, a coaching staff, the realization of it is you've got to still continue on somehow and navigate your way through a season, you know, and how do you do that? You know, I hope I never have to do that. So, you know, to do that, go through that, you know, I can't even imagine. Talked to him several times about it, but, you know, just got to be strong. In that position like that, you have to be a good leader. You know, Coach Reed really probably was asked to do a lot as far as stepping in and just, you know, pulling people from all kinds of different directions. You know, just not only his team, but probably, you know, the community, the staff at the school. I mean, can't imagine what they went through. And, just for him to, you know, go through that and for them to play well like they are right now, you know, that says a lot about him as a leader, about their coaching staff, about their kids, because they're playing with a ton of confidence right now and playing well. Their staff's doing a great job. So, yeah, I mean, just you know, you wish you wouldn't have to be talking about it, but obviously, in my eyes, just a really classy job by Coach Reed, you know, to still pull this program together with kids and kind of, I guess I say rally around it. I don't know if that's the right thing to say with all respect to the situation, but you have to, one way or another, you have to react to it, you know, and I think rallying behind it and getting your school and your team all together and going the same way is pretty important because, who knows where that could go from there as far as the rest of your team and, kids and everything. So, he's just done a fantastic job in my opinion.
So as we head into tonight's game, once again, kick off at 7 o'clock in Dalhart, what are the key things you're looking for this team to go out and do tonight?
Well, we want to come out and with an edge and swing the sword. We talk about that a lot. We want to come out and it doesn't matter who we're playing. We want to play like it's the last game. And I felt like we've done that all year, with the exception of maybe last Friday night. So we're looking forward to coming out and proving ourselves as far as playing our brand of football. And that's all really you can do every week. You come out with your identity and how you play, and our identity and how we want to play is fast, physical, and fun, and swing the sword on offense and defense, special teams. If you give us something, we're going to try to do something to take advantage of it. That's how we play. And I'm not so sure we did that. So we're ready to come out and just play our type of game, Hopefully that translates to a win, and that's what you want to do every week. You can do all those things and sometimes still just not execute very well. Yep. And maybe not win. But more times than not, if you do those things, we're going to come out with the win. So we want to come out and establish our identity again. As far as specifically, looking at Dalhart, they're, Coach Reed's son, Kyler Reed, quarterback, great player, big kid, big, strong, physical runner. He just run downhill. He's faster than, what you think, and he runs downhill really well, and it's hard to tackle. So we're going to have to get a lot of guys to the ball. I think that's one thing we didn't do last week either, is we didn't get one guy, maybe two there, and we weren't coming in and finishing off like we normally do. So we want to get back to that as well. They have some big offensive linemen, that cause some concern for you because they can get in there and they can move some guys around. And defensively, they're going to bounce in a couple of different fronts, probably a 4-2 look, a 3-3 look. But we want to still just be us. We've seen both of those fronts at different times this year. So, we want to come out and just play fast. I thought our tempo was good last week on offense. I thought our tempo was extremely fast. We just didn't execute, finish plays at times. And I think that's what we want to do offensively is, play fast, continue to play fast. I think we got 85 plays in last week offensively, which in a full 4-quarter game, we're looking for at least 75 to 80, and I think we got 85, not counting penalties. So if you get 85 plays in, we should get more than 28 points. And we did talk about that. One of those goals, we hit 85 plays. The other end of it is you got to finish drives. You got to catch balls. You got to hold on to balls. You got to throw it to people. You got to finish blocks, all that stuff. Because, ultimately it's not about the play, it's about points. Do you have more points than the other team? And we should have had more than 28 points. So we want to come out and just finish drives tonight. Keep playing fast, move the ball, put the ball in the end zone.
Not too often, not to go back to last week, but we turned the ball over twice inside the 5-yard line.
Yeah.
And, the offense, I never felt like it sputtered a lot, but we just didn't finish. Between the 20s, we looked really good.
Yeah.
Do you look to establish, we talk about going fast and fun and physical. Do you talk about coming out and establishing things like the run game early, or do you really just begin to take what each game gives you?
Well, I think you want to take what each game gives you, but, this is no secret. Historically, what we like to do, we like to throw the ball early to set up the run. And some people used to always say the opposite, it depends on what you do, but we like to play fast and gas people early and throw the ball and get them moving and then come back and to set up the run game. So, we always script our first 10 plays of the game, and it'll be a pretty good balance of, run pass in there. But we do, we like to throw it probably at least 50% of the time early, and when you look at us, that's just how we want to attack. We want to throw it to set up the run. And, but like I said, we'll take whatever they give us. There's been times probably where, maybe we planned on throwing it more early, and then we come out, and I know we've done this before, even on our script, if we gas them with the play, we get a 15, 20-yard gain, and it was wide open, and they didn't line up right, we'd be stupid not to turn around and just run it again.
Yeah.
you know, you can outsmart yourself sometimes as a coach, and if the play works really well, why not keep running it until they stop it, you know, so, you know, we'll do that too. So to answer your question, I mean, we want to take what they give us, so we have a plan going in, you know, knowing kind of what they may, you know, if you play somebody that's kind of playing a 5-man box, you better be able to run the ball, you know, against a 5-man box, because they're probably dropping more than you, well, a lot more than that you can throw it to. So, you know, we'll have that plan going in. So, again, you know, we're gonna, when it's all said and done, week to week, and even at the end of the year, we're gonna be relatively balanced probably most of the time. Last week we ended up throwing the ball 55 times. That's probably large, you know, in large in part due to the fact that we were down 34-7. You know, and you feel like you got to strike quick and get to the game. And we were throwing there, we were finding windows, and we were, at that point in the second half, we were throwing and catching, and we were executing pretty well for the most part. So, you know, we didn't abandon the run, but there was definitely, it was probably 3-1 passing, 2-1 passing at least at that point, just to try to hurry up and get back in the game, because that clock was ticking down. And like I said, we cut it to 6, you know, with 9.5 minutes left in the game, and, you know, ultimately we had a chance there.
Talk about the defense a little bit, how important, you know, all year long, I think that defense has established early their dominance on the field and kind of set the tone for the game in a lot of ways. How important is it for them to come out tonight and establish early that they are a great defense?
Yeah, that's what we want to do, obviously, you know, and for, you know, most part, we've been able to do that this year.
Yeah.
And, you know, I don't think there was any panic last week when, you know, we go 3 and out and hunt, and then they get it and drive down the field and score. It was kind of like, hey, that's not the ideal start, but a lot of football left. You know, even at 14-0, there was a lot of football left. But you do have to start. You don't want to panic, but at the same time, you got to find the sense of urgency to execute and get things right. You know what I mean? Absolutely. And I just think that took us too long to get those things right. You know, I think we cut it to 14-7 there, then they came back and answered and scored again. So yeah, I mean, you want to start off, especially if it doesn't matter if it's offense or defense. For the most part, we started on defense, it feels like this year. And, but you know, we started on offense last week, didn't execute worth a dang those first 3 plays. And then obviously, you know, they turn around and score. So, yeah, you want to get those stops, no doubt about it. You know, and that's what we plan on doing, and that's what the plan was last week. We just didn't get done. So, again, you just learn from those things. You know, all right, here's what happened now. We got a little adversity. First time we've been down behind all year long, you know, how are we going to handle it, you know? And we made a run at it, just got too far behind.
You know, obviously we'll finish with Dalhart tonight, and then we have a bye week. Is there anything you're looking at the bye week thinking, man, I'm ready for a break to do this?
No, you know, I think just a mental and physical break from it. I think, you know, you don't need much, but, you know, it's a grind. The season is a grind, and I think as coaches, you have to be intelligent about what you do with your kids or what you do with your coaches, because our plan is to be playing 16 weeks, you know, and I think, you know, you try to do different things, you know, through the year. You know, we start pulling back a little bit on practice times and how long. We're still getting tempo and we're getting a ton of reps, but maybe the amount of minutes that we're out there, how much contact we have at this point of the season, you know, for the most part, if we don't know what we're doing now, we're probably not gonna, you know, have it now.
Sure.
Because you're talking about 10 games now, so 10 weeks, then you had 2 scrimmages, so that's another 2 weeks, and then, you know, the first week that you had, there's no scrimmage, so we've been in it 13 weeks now. And, you know, I say that, at the same time, we're still gonna be coaching and working on fundamentals though, because that's the biggest thing about it, is the fundamentals. As soon as you get away from that, that's what always happens with coaches, you know. You go in and then all of a sudden you have a bad game and we got to get back to the fundamentals. Well, why did we get away from it from the first place, you know? So we feel like we do that every day, and we're going to continue to work on the fundamentals, because probably 85 to 90% of the game is just going to come down to, you know, what you do versus what they do. Are we better at blocking, tackling, catching than they are? You know, so we're going to work on blocking, tackling, catching, throwing every single day. Then obviously you're going to have, you gotta be able to line up right. You know, you gotta know what they do, know what their fronts are, know what their blitzes, their coverages, offensively know how they line up, know their formations. You gotta be prepared as far as that goes. But, you know, as we get to next week, you know, we'll probably have a couple of days where we don't practice those guys at all. Just let them, after school, probably watch film during the period or lift weights or whatever. You know, Monday, what we typically do is after school, get out of here. Get away from this locker room, get away, you know, be intelligent about what you do, but get your mind off of it for an afternoon, you know. Maybe think about this run that we're about to go on, and the middle part of it, because now, you know, as you get into, you know, the next week, you know, it's you lose, you go home type of deal. So we want to get that mental break for the kids, you know, because they're the ones physically going through practice every day. So they need the physical break, but they need the mental break as well. You know, and then we just, you know, try to sharpen our skills, usually Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, short practices, work on the fundamentals, just stay sharp on it, and then we'll probably start, if we know our opponent, coaches, we'll start looking if we can get anything, if we know anything about our playoff opponent, you start looking at that, but, you know, you look forward to it just for that, a little bit of, you know, to be able to breathe a little bit, hopefully to get some guys healthy and get some guys back. But, you know, to me, it makes me want to finish strong even more. It makes me want to go be sharp tonight, to play with that edge, knowing that you have that break point. I don't want to go limping into the bye. You want to go into the bye with confidence, strong. So it just gives me more motivation to do well tonight.
Well, we're definitely looking forward to the last game of the regular season tonight, 7 o'clock in Dalhart. We should get kicked off around 6:30 if all goes well. So it looks like the weather's gonna be good, cool.
Good football weather.
Yeah, exactly. We might want to bring a heater for their booth. But no, we're definitely looking forward to it tonight. As always, you know, make a quick trip up there. It's not that far. Definitely prefer you to be at the game, but if you can't, we're obviously going to be here to bring you all the action. And so we'll kick off, like I said, around 6:30. So for Stephen Lyles and Coach Riddle and Chris Wells, have a good evening.